Greetings, my name is Jim Kaseman. We're talking about how to get to know God intimately. And we have already talked about how in order to get to know Him intimately, we're going to have to understand Him, Spirit of God, Jesus, and we talked about covenants, and we've talked about the authority of the believer and all this sort of stuff. But now we need to talk about angels. And this means we broaden our understanding of the spiritual realm and God. And we need to do this in order for us to be able to boldly stand against the devil, because we understand more fully how great God is, how powerful, and how much is on our side. We outnumber the devil tremendously. And so we need to have a revelation of the things in the spiritual realm, and we're talking about the revelation of angels. Now, we've gotten down to where we're talking about the purpose of angels, and I'll just first of all give you four general purposes of angels, and then later on we'll be talking in some detail about these. First, they're sent under the direct orders of God or the Holy Spirit, and God's the one that tells angels when to send an angel. And two, their intervention always has a purpose. It may to prevent an accident. There's always a reason. And of course, then thirdly, the Bible records four general ways that God uses angels to interact with man. And of course, that is A, angels minister to people. B, angels help individuals in danger and in nations in trouble, and sometimes fighting and winning battles. And we even just went ahead, and I went ahead and this one about winning battles and fighting and helping nations win battles. I was reminded of Daniel chapter 10. And Daniel chapter 10, and here the angel appeared to Daniel because he heard his words. And he said, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia withheld me 21 days. Behold, Michael, one of the chief angels, came to help me. And then he said in verse 20, and now I have to return to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I have gone forth, indeed, the prince of Greece will come. And so if you read your history books, you find out that when the prince of Persia was defeated, see, not only in the physical realm, but in the spiritual realm, then came the prince of Greece, a whole new, what do you call it? But anyway, empire. You call it an empire, I guess. All right. But anyway, going on, angels bring messages to people from God, and angels administer the judgments of God. And we'll be talking more about these things in some later sessions. Praise the Lord. All right, now, the characteristics of angels. So let's talk about some of the characteristics of angels. And we see that angels of God usually appear masculine or sometimes genderless. And secondly, angels sometimes appear first in human form, which is why we can be unaware of who they are. Angels unaware. Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 2. The angel of God never appears as an animal or a bird, not a beard, a bird. An angel of God never appears as an animal or a bird. Angels have unusual strength, might, and power derived from God, and sometimes control certain elements of nature. And I don't know, that might be fairly good for us. Let's try and see if we can be successful in doing this. And I'll come back to Psalms 103, and I'll pick it up in verse 20. Bless the Lord, you his angels, who excel in strength, who do his word, heeding the voice of his word. And so whatever God tells that angel to do, God's going to heed God's voice, even if it means interfering in some things in the natural realm and the physical realm. And then let me try one more, if I can be successful again, and pick it up here in Matthew chapter 28 and verse 2. And the guards shook for fear of him, because like dead men. But the angel answered and said to the women, do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus, who was crucified. And of course, I dropped down to the wrong verse here. Here we go. Verse 2, and behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone. So here we see that an earthquake was a result of this angel coming down. And then in Revelation chapter 7, and picking it up in verse 1, hallelujah. After these things, I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, on the sea, or on any tree. And then chapter 14, rather, of Revelation, and in verse 18, and another angel came out from the altar, who had power over fire, and he cried with a loud cry to him who had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in your sharp sickle and gather the cluster of the vine earth, for the grapes are fully ripe. So the angel thrust his sickle in the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. So, angels have unusual strength, might, and power, and all comes from God. The power all comes from God. And sometimes they interfere with things in the natural realm. Now, angels have wisdom, 2 Samuel 14:20, and their own languages, 1 Corinthians 13 and 1. And I come back here to 1 Corinthians 13 because I think we should read that one. And 1 Corinthians 13 and verse 1. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels. Wow. So angels have their own languages, and they have their own emotions. And supposedly I'm able to find that in Luke chapter 15 and in verse 10. Likewise, I say to you, there is joy in the presence of the angels of God over the sinner who repents. So they have emotions. Isn't that interesting? In a lot of ways, they're similar. I mean, they have similar characteristics of humans, but a lot of them that we as humans don't have, so that shouldn't have even said that, I guess. But angels have emotions, they have their own languages, and we do too. Angels have wills to choose a course of action, but they do not act on their own power or their own wills. Well, now, they have, like we said earlier, they have a free will to choose whether they want to be loyal to God or rebel and go to hell, or stay loyal and spend eternity with God in heaven. They have a free will, just like us as people do. We mentioned that in another session. But they do not act on their own power or their own wills. In other words, they have a free will, but God will direct what they should do, and it's his power that will enable that angel to cause it to take place. In other words, angels do God's will, they don't do their own will. We as human beings, we're supposed to be doing God's will and not our own will. All right? So that's why we need to be led by the Spirit and be familiar with the Word of God, so that we end up doing God's will and not our own will, and it'll be with God's power, not our power. So it's just the angels, it's the same thing. It's with God's power and it's with God's will, not their own will. And where we come into play is with our free will. Are we going to choose to obey God's will or not? The angels had the power to choose whether they obey God's will or not. And of course, you rebel against God and his will. Of course, heaven's your destiny, or probably the lake of fire for eternity. All right, 8 scriptural descriptions of angels indicate that they're exotic to the human eye and mind. Apparently, angels have a beauty and variety that surpasses anything known to man. And we're going to talk about a lot of these individual angels just a little bit here down the road. And there's many different kinds of angels, and we'll be talking about that. Now, angels are God's army. In Matthew 26:53, Jesus referred to a legion of angels. A legion is a Roman military with about 6,000 soldiers. But we see that in Revelation 19:14 that it says armies. It says armies that Jesus would be the head of or the captain of. Armies, plural. And so that means innumerable angels make up. There's innumerable angels, and they're all part of God's army. So there's innumerable angels, or you'd call it spiritual soldiers, in God's army. Wow. All right, session has come to a conclusion again. So be blessed until the next time we get together. Amen.